The Pittsburgh Steelers defense continues to struggle this season, and the question we have to ask is, do they have the tools to fix themselves, especially now that the Steelers are not expecting DeShon Elliott to return this season to do that? We discussed that with Alan Saunders of SteelersNow.com and go over our Stars and Skulls grades. We got some bus tickets to hand out, y'all. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Steelers, your daily Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, bringing you your daily dose of all things on the Pittsburgh Steelers. As always, you can find the show on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to get all of your daily Monday through Friday episodes, as well as our bonus content. Thank you for making us your first listen every day, because we're your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. We'll have more on them later. As I said before, we're joined by the man himself, Alan Saunders. He's back from SteelersNow.com, always here to join us for a Tuesday episode. Alan, news came out, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN first with this, but the Steelers are not expecting DeShon Elliott to return this season. His ACL is intact. That's good news, but the rigor, the things he's going to have to do to recover might not make him available until the end of the season. What does this do for the Steelers defense? Because DeShon Elliott was a big part of what their plans were including this year.
Huge. I mean, I can't ever remember a Steelers player going from like afterthought free agent signing to absolutely critical piece of the puzzle as fast as DeShon Elliott has. You saw what happened when he missed games 2 and 3 of this season with a knee injury he suffered in week 1. And you hate to see it because he's been so key to them all year from a communication standpoint, from a stopping the run standpoint. I feel like that was something that was really obviously lacking when he wasn't in there. And, you know, I mean, they've been sort of patchworking the safety position together as it is. I think it kind of moves to the top of the need list if Omar Khan is looking at a trade deadline acquisition at this point, because things can get rough there real fast.
I mean, they kind of have been, and we're going to get to the grades in a bit, because the secondary, it's a graveyard out there with our Stars and Skulls segment. But in all seriousness, Alan, I'm right with you on that need right there. But backing away from just the safety conversation, because we'll get into that with the grades segment coming up. But I do wonder, and I don't like to overreact. I don't like to just spit out hyperbole or just get people excited for no reason. I'm not a sensationalist with my show, but I do have to ask myself sometimes, and I don't know the answer. Normally I feel like the Steelers defense, when it struggles, they have the tools to fix themselves, to get them out of whatever jam it was. When TJ Watt was down for half a year, when he came back, I was like, they can do this. They can make this. They can salvage this season, get back to being competitive. They've done that. I mean, for all of Mike Tomlin's tenure, his teams, whatever their strength was, they would find a way to get back to being in the playoff conversation, and either into the playoffs or into the conversation. And as we know, they've never had a losing season. But the depths of the problems of this defense just continue to confound me. There's sometimes I just look at this film, and we're going to go over that again in the grades segment, and I get befuddled by the vast variety of problems that I see. And it's just, I think this might be the most unsure I felt about a Steelers team being able to correct its own problems in the middle of the season.
100%. I don't understand how as many things that have gone wrong. I can see the coaching staff trying different things schematically. Nothing seems to work. They can't cover man-to-man. They don't have the horses for it. They thought they did. They don't. When they go play zone, they don't do it very well. You've got bad technique, poor eye discipline, guys running to landmarks instead of paying attention to where the players are, poor tackling, which there's no excuse for in zone. You're facing the play, but they're still not rallying to the ball. Give up 200 and some yards of yak against the Green Bay Packers. I've never seen a Steelers secondary with this many problems. I've seen ones that are fairly limited in talent. We watched a couple seasons of Valentino Blake and Cody Sensabaugh, and like that. Look, there were years where they just had nobody back there, but they still found a way to mostly cover it up and minimize the weakness. This year, that there doesn't appear to be a big weakness. I mean, even if you want to say like, okay, maybe Darius Slay is just got 1 year too old, but like there's nothing wrong with Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr. and Brandon Eccles, and they're just not getting the job done at all. And it's really hard to see an easy fix to the problem.
And I think that's part of the problem. We had a chance to talk to Payton Wilson, and I thought he gave some good tidbits because I asked him some questions based off of what we heard from Cam Hayward, the whole being able to fight back from adversity. And I thought Payton Wilson gave some interesting answers that can kind of let you see the inside as far as what a young defender on this team is hearing from his vet leaders. Here is Payton Wilson in the Steelers locker room on Monday when we talked to him.
We talked to Cam Hayward last night. One thing he said that he feels like the team needs to respond to adversity better. What does that mean to you, and have you guys talked about that as a collective yet?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely feel it. When things start going south, they really start going south. I mean, we came out flying, had a really good first half, I think, and then once things started going south, it felt like everything just fell apart. So we can't really ride that roller coaster of emotions, as people say around here. We just have to, whenever, especially when the defense is on the field, we just got to do our job the whole game. It can't be one quarter, one good drive, and then the rest of the game. We have to do it the whole game.
If that was an issue in game, are you concerned that it could become an issue in season as it was towards the end of last year? How do you put the brakes on that?
No, I mean, it can't. We're early in the season still. We got a lot of ball left, so we just have to. We got to build. We got to get better on defense. We got to schematic. We got to do our jobs better. We have to do our responsibilities better, and we just have to play harder and more physical.
Teams have been able to get the balls out quick. That's been thrown under the flag, just kind of mitigating the pass rush. How do you beat that? Does it feel like offenses have kind of figured out, hey, this is the way that we beat this defense?
No, I mean, we just got to put more tools in place. We got to be sound on our tools when it comes to man-to-man coverage. Obviously, people are getting, in offense now, people run a lot of picks, a lot of man beaters, so we just have to be good on our rules, and we have to win our leverage and be competitive away. I don't think that, it's any one person's fault or anything. We just have to continue to be really good in our rules. Offenses are really creative, so they try to get people open, and we have rules and tools that we go over all camp, all season to be able to defend that. We just have to stick to those.
Do you feel like there's a bit of like hero ball that sometimes gets in the way? You guys are a big turnover culture, and like there's always that play-to-play judgment of like, do I jump this at this point, but that might sacrifice my role? Do you feel like that's something that you guys are trying to still find your balance at striking?
I think it's just calculated risk-taking, right? Knowing when to and when not to. But no, I don't think anyone's trying to play hero ball. I think it's just a bunch of guys trying to play as hard as they can, and sometimes it might hurt us a little bit. Sometimes it turns into the best play that you've seen all season, So it's just, like you said, trying to find that balance and knowing when to take those calculated risks.
You feel like there's an extra sense of urgency to kind of get the right fits when you guys are covering those quick passes after like 2 weeks where two teams have really used that strategy to get to stop the pass rush and get after you guys?
Yeah, we got to get on it. We got to get in the film room. We definitely got to figure it out. We have some really, really good weapons up front, and if we can't get the quarterback to hold the ball long enough, they're not going to be able to do anything and create that splash like we talk about and be the dominant force that they are. So we definitely got to get in and figure it out for sure.
To me, Alan, I still think there is a very accessible formula. They don't need this secondary to be elite per se. They don't need them to be, the late 2000s secondary where Ike Taylor, Deshae Townsend, Bryant McFadden, Ryan Clark, and Troy Fautanu were just having some lights out games. But they do need them to take away the first read. They do need them to line up and not allow quarterbacks to just say, yep, that's what I wanted. Thank you. And that, I think, has been the problem the last 2 weeks. I think it was the problem early on this season. It seemed to go away for a few weeks there, but it's back. And I don't understand how it continues to be this much of a problem. And one thing I think Payton Wilson brought up, when he said rules and we have to know our rules and execute our rules, that's basically a phrase for our listeners that's saying that, like, hey, when they're in certain alignments, it's not a play call, but it's like a set of guidelines that, like, hey, if they're in a bunch formation and we're in this call, this is how we handle it so that like the inside receiver who's most inside can't just run around the other guys and we lose track of them because of that, which by the way happened to the Steelers on a 4th and 1 in this game. And so like they have these things in place too. And the 2-point conversion. But again, those are the things I think the Steelers are messing up the most. It's just like those are very fixable. And that's one thing that if they can get those things down, the secondary ain't good enough to be elite, but the guys up front, I do think can be, Alan.
And when you're having fixable problems that are not getting fixed, look, I'll be the first to admit that, like, I understand that Mike Tomlin's messaging to us is not necessarily the whole truth of what he believes. I get that. I'm totally on board with that. But when you come out of a game saying, it's the run defense, stop the run, stop the run, stop the run, it'll all get fixed if we stop the run, and then you stop the run and it didn't make a bit of difference. You still couldn't cover anyone. And then he comes out of that game saying, oh, well, it's the big plays, it's 3rd and long, we couldn't get off the field. It's like, there were drives where the Packers never even had a 3rd down. Like you take away the 2 3rd and long plays, maybe the Steelers get out of it. Like if Juan Thornhill can come down with that interception, if DeShon Elliott can just tackle Tucker Kraft and not get lost on the play, gets hurt, do you maybe get out of this game with a win? Sure, but you're just covering up what's a bit major issue with this defense. And I thought it was just, I couldn't believe that I asked Mike Tomlin about all of the throws to the flat and their inability to rally to the ball and tackle. And he said, I'm not worried about the flat. The man sells t-shirts that say, don't get beat to the flat. Yeah. Like I don't know. There's some kind of major disconnect happening where you have these obvious issues that it seems like everyone can see. They're not getting fixed, and they're not even being discussed by the coaching staff like they are the number one priority that I think everyone else thinks they should be.
And I think that's a key question. What's going on there? And I talked about that yesterday with one of his answers to one of my questions after the game. And, he acknowledged, he was talking about, hey, like, we have to do better about putting guys in positions to succeed. And to me, I think that was the closest acknowledgement that he's made, that guys have been out of position and guys have been messing up, and they need to be better about how they plan those things and plan their alignments and plan their matchups. I think that there's at least an acknowledgement of that. And listen, like, to your point, Mike Tomlin is not going to tell us everything. He's not going to tell the fans like, oh, I want to know, like, who messed up here and what's this here? What exactly are they going to do? What plays are they going to call? They're not putting all that out there. One, they don't want the other teams to know what they're doing. Two, you don't out your own people like that unless you're doing it for messaging. Like, there's certain times where he'll do that. Like, back when he called out Willie Parker for talking about, rushing titles or whatever, like there's strategic things, or like when he called Mike Wallace a one-trick pony and he was trying to motivate him to be a more, complete wide receiver. There's times for that. But when it's like when stuff's falling down around you, I don't think he doesn't want the blame game happening. And I think that's what he's trying to avoid with that stuff. But to your point, it does bring up questions. What are they focusing on to try to fix? Because there's a lot to fix right now.
Yeah. And I think, it's one thing to say something and then actually focus on somewhere else. But when you're saying one thing and it continues to be a problem, like you said, we've never been here before. And I think it really is uncharted territory for this defense.
And that could be a really scary thing. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's Stars and Skulls time. And we do have graveyard grave because there were so many skulls to hand out. And our first real bus tickets of the year, we'll be handing those out next here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter, Alan Saunders, stick with us. We'll be right back.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go, while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
We're back here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, here with Alan Saunders of SteelersNow.com. It's time for our Stars and Skulls grades. As always, the rubric that we put out for you guys, stars are good, skulls are bad. We grade each player. Sometimes you can be neutral and not get a grade, but 1 to 3 stars, you can be good, great to elite. 1 to 3 skulls, you can be bad. You can have a bad play without redeeming yourself, a bad game as a whole, or an all-time terrible game. And there's also the dreaded bus ticket grade, where it's like, get that guy out of here. But the Steelers lost, which means we start with the skulls. So we start with the bad stuff here. Let's go to our 1 skull grades. The guys that I thought could have been better, but didn't kill the Steelers, or maybe balance some things out with some good plays. I got 5 people on this list here for 1 skull grades: Kenneth Gainwell, Isaac Seumalo, Mason McCormick, Derek Harmon, and Brandon Echols. Now, Kenneth Gainwell, I was going to give a star until that fumble, but he was averaging like 6 yards per carry. He was hitting his holes pretty hard, but that fumble was just such a killer. And I'm sorry, that was that'll set it back. So I thought about making him neutral, but I gave him a skull for that because I felt like that was a lot worse than the runs that he put together. Isaac Seumalo, I just thought got destroyed on a run play that really killed a drive. He did suffer a pec injury, so maybe it's a little unfair to him to have him on this list. But I thought he didn't do as well. I thought Mason McCormick had a really rough day. He had 5 pressures allowed in this one, so I put him there. But again, not a really rough day, but a mildly rough day. Didn't officially allow a sack. Derek Harmon, I thought, could have been better against the run, and Brandon Echols didn't play a ton of snaps, but got burned on a deep ball to Watson. Granted, that was more on Thornhill. We'll get to him later. But then also whiffed badly on that Josh Jacobs touchdown run. Alan, any griefs to have with my 1 skull grades here?
I can't say I haven't really looked at the offensive line that closely, but I can't, other than that, I think that looks pretty solid. I mean, there's obviously more guys. We'll see when we get to the 2s if I think there's somebody you're missing there, but I think that's a pretty good start.
Let's go to the 2s. Our 2 skull grades. We got 3 people: Cole Holcomb, this is actually a change. Juan Thornhill was not supposed to be on the 2 skull grades anymore. It was a change that I made last second, so that kind of gives you a hint of where he's going to be. But so my real two skull grades here are Cole Holcomb and Chuck Clark. We do have multiple 3 skull grades to hand out here. Holcomb, early on, Alan, I thought he was getting cooked. He looked out of place. There was a action play where he looked like out of sorts, and his zone was just wide open. They eventually had to take him out the game because I think he was just being too much of a liability. And Chuck Clark just barbecue chicken on that touchdown to Tucker Kraft, and I thought he had a really rough game, but not as bad as some others. But I gave those 2 guys 2 skull grades. What say you?
Yeah, I think a lot of Holcomb and Clark, honestly, is me feeling like the coaching staff did not have them in like good positions. Like what is Chuck Clark doing covering Tucker Kraft man to man ever?
Yeah,
ever. That's a bad situation to put him in. Sure, of course he failed, but that should be expected. And I think it goes back to what we were just talking about. I felt like this is a team that came out determined to stop the run. That's why you have Cole Holcomb in the game. I don't think the Packers cared if the Steelers, they didn't appear to be a team that really gave a rip what happened in the running game. They seemed perfectly content to throw it 50 times. I felt like they were focused on the wrong thing, and that's how you get guys like that in there doing that stuff. Even though Thornhill did not have a very good game, I think he's a faster, more dynamic coverage player than Clark. I would have rather seen him in that opportunity. Put Ramsey back there.
Yeah,
if you need to give a safety a one-on-one matchup with Kraft, not that. I don't understand it. So, yeah, I get it. Also, I think there's a little bit of an asterisk there. I will also say, now that I've seen the 2 skulls, I'd like to throw Nick Herbig and DK Metcalf on the ones for those fourth quarter 15-yarders. Those
that's a very good point. I
Really
was grading
hurt.
off of pure performance, but those penalties hurt. DK's was dumb. What was your response? Because people really got on me for getting on Nick Herbig for getting on the guys off Benny Skoranek.
I mean, you pick a guy off the pile, and you do it like clearly and obviously without like anybody sort of, that's one of those penalties where like there's a way to get away with it, but that wasn't it. If you know what I'm saying, like you come flying in and then the guy goes flying out like that. You kind of make it obvious. I don't hate the idea. Like, I guess the thing about that penalty is like, good job, stick up for your teammate. Just not quite so hard next time. Like, the intent is good, as opposed to Metcalf, where you're like, come on, man, what are you doing? Like, this can't be part of what you're trying to do. And so I they're different in that way, but I think both pretty silly penalties.
No, absolutely, and thank you for bringing that up. I will change that in my grades because I was looking at pure performance and I completely overlooked those two penalties, which were extremely costly. Nick Herbig just giving free yardage up on a touchdown drive, and the DK Metcalf ruining a 3rd and 2 situation where the Steelers could have tried to mount a comeback late. And I had, and full disclosure, I have Metcalf as having a star because of his touchdown catch and him having 50 yards. But that penalty was boneheaded, and he needs to not make boneheaded plays, especially with him being a leader. So that being said, your 2-skull grades, are Cole Holcomb and Chuck Clark. And basically, if Juan Thornhill's not a 2-skull, you kind of know he's a 3-skull now. But there are 2 other 3-skull grades I have here. Who do you think they are?
Well, I don't know. We got some bus tickets in here, so it's going to be hard to figure out.
It's tricky. It's the trick.
I don't think well, Thornhill obviously, like I don't think any defensive bad. Slay has to be one of these. I thought he was pretty bad again. I didn't think Queen was great. I don't know if he's here though. Are there any on offense or is it all defense?
All defense.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is tough. I don't think I have a good guess this week.
That's fine. So you do have Juan Thornhill because we kind of gave that one away. Your 2 other 3-skullers are Patrick Queen and Joey Porter Jr. Patrick Queen, there were times where I felt like he just hugged the wrong zone. He's looking in the wrong places. And I get that he's trying to coordinate everything else that's going on. But the Steelers need him to be so much better. And I thought that, and I'm a person who sings that guy's praises because I think that there's been times where he's been blamed for things that weren't his fault. But in this game, a lot of the yards after the catch, some of the things over the middle, he needed to be better. And he needs to be that kind of guy in the middle part of the defense. Otherwise, things will fall apart a lot faster around him. Joey Porter Jr. gets on this list, Alan, because there were some times we were talking about that off camera, but I just didn't know what Joey was doing sometimes. And there were times that he made some really good plays, like the first 3rd down breakup where he's on the slant. Great breakup. There was a deep ball to Dubs where he ran, stride for stride with dude. They both fell down. It was incidental conduct, so no penalty. Like early on, I'm like, okay, Joey's doing it. But then it was like after the DeShon Elliott, push off injury play, and then the deep ball to Christian Watson. It was just like, and by the way, that's where Juan Thornhill lines. I'll bring him up too in a sec here. But after those, Joey's mistakes just compounded upon themselves, and he was one of those guys that was just not focusing. There was one run play. In fact, it was right after the Renegades, right after Nick Herbig's penalty, and the Packers run an off tackle play to the right to TJ's side, and TJ just he doesn't try to destroy his guy. He tries to maintain his gap. And live, a lot of people were like, "Oh wow, he got destroyed by that tight end." And then you kind of watch the replay. He didn't get destroyed. He was trying to hold his gap because he thought Joey had the edge because there was no receiver over there. And then he looks back, and Joey's 20 yards off the line of scrimmage, guarding nobody on a run play. And and you even see TJ Watt, and if you watch like the replay on the All-22 afterwards, he's like looking at Joey. He's like, Joey, you see him do like this over and over because he's just that frustrated with Joey Porter Jr. And to me, that's worse than holding penalties and defensive pass interferences when you're jumping out of your responsibility as much as Joey Porter did, because that was one of several times I saw on tape That is a big mental problem, and he needs to be smarter than that.
I think very similarly to Clark and Holcomb, I don't think the Steelers are letting him do what he's good at. At the same time, it's because like he's the only guy that can play man to man.
Yeah.
and he struggles in zone, man. Like there's been struggles in zone with him his whole career. It's not awful. Like he didn't get cooked. Like I would probably I feel like this is a little harsh on Porter, because to me, like, number one idea for a cornerback is don't give up any big plays, and he didn't.
Right. That's true.
He really didn't. But the run fills were bad. The zone coverage was bad, and it's been bad. And so I get it. I feel like it's a little harsh on Porter. The other two guys for sure belong here. Queen, like I said, like I'll say this. I thought he was better than he was the week before, but that's not saying a whole lot.
It's a very low bar. But Juan Thornhill, because I didn't talk about him in the 2 skulls because he is a 3 skull grade. On the DeShon Elliott, when he gets pushed, Juan Thornhill comes to try to make a tackle, and he was just kind of in the way. Yeah, he just keeps getting stiff armed by Tucker Kraft. He doesn't really do anything, and then eventually, when DeShon Elliott catches back up to the play and he brings him down, that's what twists his knee, and now DeShon Elliott is potentially most likely out for the season. And so that was rough. But then you had the deep ball that he just completely misplayed, where it was just a duck of a throw from Jordan Love, and he's standing there watching, and he's just like, oh, there it goes. And it was just a terrible play. And then another one where Terry Lawson drew up the right zone to fool Jordan Love. He has a single Juan Thornhill in the single high, and he basically has him just run to the boundary to cover an out route to Dubs, and that's exactly where Jordan Love goes. But he like doesn't run to Dubs; he runs short of it. Like he runs like 5 yards away from him, and it's like there's no one there. What are you guarding? And so it's just like looking at that. I had to give him a 3 skull with those 3 just really big foul ups and just not really doing anything else in the game.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of this just running to a spot and ignoring what the offense is doing. It just seems like it happens over and over again, where you have a guy playing zone just go into a landmark, and it's like, why? There's nobody over there. Like, where are you going? I don't know where that comes from.
I don't know where it comes from either. Okay, so now that you know the 1, 2s, and 3 skulls, we do have bus tickets to hand out. But I'll give you a hint with this. There's 1 player here, but there are 2 things to name as far as things that got bus tickets. So give us the player and then your guess at the 2 things that were bus tickets from Sunday Night Football.
A player and there's 1 player and 2 things.
Yes.
And we didn't name this player yet.
Yes.
Oh boy. Wow. Man, I think you got me stumped here.
I got him stumped. It's my first time I think I've ever stumped Alan Saunders on my guys here. But I'm sorry, I got to give a bus ticket to Darius Slay, and particularly because of that red zone touchdown to Savion Williams, where at first live, I thought that the Steelers were just out positioned and everything was bad. But then when I looked at the replay, even with the motion and no one went with the motion there, Patrick Queen takes on 2 blockers and takes them out and clears out space. Juan Thornhill takes the interior gap. They force Savion Williams to the sideline. And Darius Slay is just like, ho-hum, and doesn't try to, and does like a fake, not even an arm tackle attempt. And I didn't understand what that was. And I'm like, buddy, that's a key play in the game. Just push him out of bounds. Do something. And it's like, when you see that and you see him getting toasted in other places, I continue to look at that and I just look like, man, like Darius Slay, what is it that you do in this defense? Because last week you were getting torched. Throughout this year, you've been torched. He's made a couple plays here and there, a couple breakups. There was 1 deep ball that he did defend well. But to me, that lack of effort on that play, to me, was just an unacceptable thing. And that got me my first real bus ticket for this year. When I was going back through it, I'm like, you can't have this. You can't cover people one-on-one. You don't got the speed to run with guys deep down the field. You're not doing elite reading of zones and baiting passes to you to get interceptions. And so the least you can do is to run to the sideline at full strength where everyone else is in position and has gotten the runner to be forced to you and just knock him out of bounds. And he didn't even put an effort. It'd be one thing if he over pursued, but it just looked like a lack of effort. So that's why he lands on my bus ticket list there, Alan.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would, who plays instead? I think Eccles was very good in this game either.
Yeah.
You throwing a Hail Mary to Corey Trice this week? Like, I think that's where we're at, and that's probably not a good
Corey Trice.
Not a good place to be. So I don't know. I see a lack of available options. I think though, like, we talked in the open about some of those defenses over the years that just did not have a lot of talent in the secondary. Those guys would run and tackle.
Yep.
They could not cover
the basics.
They could not cover,
right?
But they would run and tackle.
Ross Cockrell would go hustle,
right? If you're not going to cover well, you got to run and tackle. Like, that is a bare minimum requirement. I agree with that.
All right, so I didn't display the bus tickets on the screen because I wanted the other two to be a surprise because I felt like I thought you were going to get Darius Slay. But my other two things that get bus tickets are those ugly bleeping throwbacks.
I should have known that one. I'm mad at myself. I wasn't mad about Slay. I'm mad at myself for that one.
Yeah. I'm like, come on. How did you not get those uniforms? They were we stared at them all night. Those uniforms are ugly. I'm sorry. And with the pants, listen, it's one thing to do the weird, goofy looking jersey. But
I saw a lot of fans I was walking into the stadium. I saw a lot of fans wearing them. I thought it looked fine. It looks good as just a shirt to wear to rep your team. Man. It's fine. But on the field, first of all, gold.
No, terrible.
No, that's terrible. Always a no. That every team that's ever done that has looked bad. Okay, so that's the first of all. And the tan friggin' pants.
They're stupid.
I understand they're historic, but they're not even like remotely faithful to the historic uniform. Just wear something that looks good, please. Not that. That was awful. I think they can make those. I think they can make the jersey work. I think, honestly, I love the helmet. The helmet's the best part, but I think that jersey actually looks better with the black helmet. I want to see the gold helmet with the color rush. I think that would look really good.
That would be tough. That's basically the 2007 throwback. Right?
Yeah, they wore white pants with it, which is weird.
Right. Yeah, the white pants did make it weird. But all black
with the gold helmet, that looked good.
Be tight.
Contrast. You need contrast, people. Tan doesn't. It's not. Get it? No.
Now,
it's like Jake from State Farm out there.
But
we wear khakis.
Yeah, right, khakis. But my last bus ticket here are season ticket holders, and particularly because I know I'm steeping into some deep trouble here. They're coming for me. They're going to be gunning for me. They're tweeting at me. They're going to be trying to sue me for this. You can't give me a bus ticket, Carter. But guess what? I am, because you season ticket holders, you old Steelers fans that just I don't need to go to the game on Sunday night, and you sell it to the Packers fans. And you let them come in, and they basically, I estimated 60-40, 60% Steelers fans, 40% Packers fans. But when they're yelling, go Pack, go, and Aaron Rodgers said he has to do a silent count in his own state, I ain't never seen that. We've seen the Niners take over a little bit. We've seen the Raiders take over a little bit. We've seen like big fan bases, but I ain't never heard it that loud. And to me, I do think that is a problem that the Steelers may want to try to find a way to incentivize people to not sell their tickets or to do something else with their ticket. Like, there's got to be a way to recoup that. I know other teams have done things against the Steelers where, like, you can't buy a ticket to a Steelers coming here game unless you buy 4 more tickets or something like that for games. But when I was talking to other season ticket holders, they were telling me, like, the problem is all these people that don't want to come and they just sell their tickets to whoever. And we're like, what happened to Jimmy and his family? They didn't show up. Oh, they just didn't feel like coming today. You guys get bus tickets. Get them out of here. Give it to the real fans who want to be at the stadium. They're going to try to kill me, aren't they, Alan?
Chris, not participating in this. You
I
are.
don't want the smoke.
You are on your own on this island, my friend. I'm here for you, but I'm not that here for you. That's all I'm going to say. I'll say this.
He's over there, everyone.
I'll say this. I think the league's continued addition of more and more primetime games has turned them from something that was a fun thing that happened once in a while to a burden on season ticket holders. They are now a chore. They are not something people want to do anymore. There's too many of them. Nobody wants to go to a quarter of their home games at night on a work night. It's not what the fans want. And I think they're voting with their wallets and their feet. And on one hand, I support that because that's all the say that fans have when it comes to pushing back against the National Football League about what is fundamentally a fan-unfriendly schedule, at least in terms of fans in person. On the other hand, I agree that you got to find, like, it's one thing to not want to go. I'm not going to blame a season ticket holder who doesn't want to go to a night game on a work night. There's 3 of them at home this year? Yeah. I'm not, but you got a cousin, you got an uncle, you got a neighbor. Go find somebody you know is putting on black and gold to sell that ticket to. You don't have to go make $1,000 putting on StubHub to sell it to Packers fans. You can make sure it gets in the right hands. So, but I'm not going to blame fans who don't want to show up to a night game because I think the league is overreached and their harm, and especially with the flex now. Like it's gotten even worse. You don't even know when the game is going to be until a couple weeks ahead of time for sure. So I'm not gonna criticize fans that don't want to go, but I will say if you sell your ticket, don't get mad when you hear "Go Pack Go" or whatever rolling through your stadium because you're why.
You did it. Just let you know, Alan Saunders called you guys out so bad in this episode.
I didn't. I'm telling you, I support Fans v League. I'm with the fans in Fans v League because I think the schedule's gotten ridiculous. But
I'm with you on that. But we're gonna take a quick break. We come back. We got to get to the stars because there are stars to hand out for this game. Believe it or not, despite all the doom and gloom, there were good plays that were made. We'll talk about that next year on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter, Alan Saunders. Stick with us. We'll be right back. But first, I want to remind you the show is also brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. Or it happens to everyone sometimes. When it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If you're prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL. Use promo code LockedOnNFL so that they know that we sent you. Rougiette. Stop making excuses. Start making moves. We're also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets from everything and everyone who can score, and you can also bet on fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when you hit on your first $5 bet. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up today to play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We're back here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter and Alan Saunders of SteelersNow.com. Let's get to the stars here. We'll move through this rather quickly because we have been on a heater today. 1-star grades. I got Zach Frazier, Broderick Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Cam Hayward, Roman Wilson, DK Metcalf, Darnell Washington, Payton Wilson, TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, and Corliss Waitman. Nick Herbig will be removed for his penalty. Thank you for reminding me of that. He will not be on this list for that there. But I put them there. I'll go with the offensive line first. I thought Broderick Jones was very solid in this game. Micah Parsons really didn't do much against him. He did give up a sack, but only 2 pressures on the day. I thought he was good for the run. I thought Zach Frazier was a real warrior in this game. You could see after every play he was limping, he was struggling, but he was in there working and doing his best. I thought he deserved he deserved a hat tap for that because I thought he did pretty well there. And I know there's some people that are saying, wait a minute, why are Cam Hayward and TJ Watt on this list when they were ghosts? But they actually weren't ghosts in this game. Cam Hayward had 7 tackles. 5 of them were run stuffs. 3 pressures in this game. Almost got home. Again, if the secondary does their job, he probably has a couple sacks in this game. And the same thing goes for TJ Watt. He also had 3 pressures, also had 4 run stuffs. He wasn't some invisible person that didn't have his big sacks. And actually what's crazy, people say, oh, he's been a ghost. This broke a 4-game sack streak of TJ Watt. But I thought they were solid. Also, DK Metcalf would not be on this list. He's also going to be removed. So no Metcalf, no Herbig. But what's your reaction to my 1-star grades here, Alan?
Yeah, Hayward and Watt, they're doing their job. Again, they stopped the run. Everybody said all week, stop the run. They stopped the run. They got some pressure on Love. They didn't get there. The secondary has to be better for that to be possible. Good shot for Roman Wilson. Thought he did nice job of coming back to the ball. That long one in the first quarter. Not so, not impressed by garbage time stuff, but Broderick Jones, Zach Frazier, very appropriate. Payton Wilson, I thought maybe one of his better games of the season. I thought I thought he needed to play more. I thought he needed to be like there. To me, there's no reason there's no reason for him to be off the field in this game. He was the matchup you wanted against Kraft. You didn't get it often enough. Why are you taking him off the field?
I think because he had some bad games recently, and maybe they thought that Cole Holcomb was ready, and they've been trying to other stuff. I think they also tried to incorporate some dime this week. But I agree with you. I think Payton Wilson, this might have been his best game. He actually led the team with 4 pressures, also led the team with 8 tackles, and was not a liability in coverage at all. Maybe this was his get back week, and if this was his get back week and he can help cover Tyler Warren next week, that could go a long way. So Payton Wilson gets a star there, along with guys. Also, Corliss Waitman for solid punting on the day. Nothing bad there. But again, no DK Metcalf, no Herbig for their penalties. They will be scratched and probably each given a skull for the day because of those boneheadedness. My 2 skull grades, I got 2 guys here, Jaylen Warren and Troy Fautanu. Jaylen Warren just continues to be a beast at the running back position, averaging like 5 yards per carry or something like that. 4.8. Also, had another one of those quick flips out the backfields, goes and gets 11 yards with it. Just an impressive guy. Also helps in pass protection. Solid stuff here. But I gotta say, Troy Fautanu, man, Alan, I think he's becoming a beast at the right tackle position. He's living up to the hype. And I brought this up on yesterday's episode in my post-game reaction. I do think there's something forming with this young offensive line.
The offense is playing so well. Like, that's the real shame of this defense, is that I didn't think the offense could be anywhere near this good. And they're playing so well. And the young offensive line is coming together. Aaron's still playing very well. It wasn't his best game, but I think he's still playing very well. I'll tell you what, I think you owe a star to Spencer Anderson too. Not only did he make the obviously, but I thought they did not. There was no drop off when he replaced Isaac Seumalo. Honestly, it might have been better. Is that crazy to say? I'm gonna throw down right. Spencer Anderson's a starting guard in 2026. I'm gonna say that right now.
He actually did get a star. He's on my, because you can read my stars and skulls in the Post Gazette minus bus tickets. We don't put that in the written part. But in all this, but he is a star there. I just forgot to throw his name in. I thought I did throw his name in with the stars. That's weird. I missed him. Huh. Oh well, but yeah, 2 stars there. But Troy Fautanu, I think, has been really solid. Spencer Anderson, but I agree with you. I think he's in consideration unless they go draft somebody. Like, I really thought that what was his name, Tate Ratledge out of.
Oh yeah,
I loved him in this draft class, and if they had found a way to get him in like the middle rounds, I would have been like, there's your future left guard. Now your whole young offensive line's there. But Spencer Anderson, maybe he does fill in because he's doing solid there. All right, we got 1 3-star grade this week. Alan, if you don't get this, get the heck out of here.
Build a statue, Chris Boswell.
Oh, you build the statue, baby.
He's the MVP. He's the best player on the team. It's not even close.
It's not even close.
It's not even close.
Is he the best at his job on a sports team in Pittsburgh? Paul Stevens.
I think I'll go farther than that. I think he is the player in the NFL that is the best at his position. That is the distance to number 2 is the farthest.
That is a very interesting way to put that, because I hear what you're saying there. That's deep. I agree.
Like, he's so much better than every other kicker in the league.
So much better. He's so, because he even does the kickoffs right. Like, if I'm Chris Boswell,
what a kickoff! Get the kickoff, land in bounds, and then go into the end zone and start him at the 20-yard line.
Yep.
He's so good,
and he's done it twice now.
Yes,
like he's
we're seeing, how many games have we seen this year turn on kickoff goes out of bounds, and Boswell's been the one kick he missed is because of the turf.
Yep.
He's so good.
He's the man, so he gets the 3-star.
I think there's he probably the only guy in the whole league right now who could go down with a season-ending injury and he's still an All-Pro. Right this very second.
There's nobody that you would rather have than Chris Boswell at the kicker position, which is crazy to say. Growing up, I thought no kicker would ever be better than Gary Anderson in Steelers history.
The real crazy part about it is you could not say that about Chris Boswell in what is theoretically his athletic prime.
Yeah,
he was he was fine.
He was good.
He was just good. Okay
in
his 20s. Now he's 34 years old and he's the best kicker in the world.
It's pretty wild. But hey, he's the Wizard of Oz, and he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was your extended Stars and Skulls grades episode. We went really long here, so I hope Ross Jackson doesn't kill me for doing that. Alan, thanks for joining us here.
You can blame me for that. You're on your own with the fans. I'll take the heat from your bosses.
There you go. Thank you for taking the heat. Because one people, it signs my paychecks. Some other people might just sue me. But anyways, Alan, thanks for joining us. Let people can find you, follow you, get more your work.
Saunders_PGH on social media. SteelersNow.com is where you can find my written work and my podcast, Steelers Morning Rush and Steelers Afternoon Drive, on the Steelers Now YouTube page or anywhere you find podcasts.
Absolutely. He's Alan Saunders of Steelers Now. Thank you, Alan, for joining us. Thank you all for joining us here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, wherever you get your social media. My handle is always at Carter Critiques. You can read my work in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette by going to post-gazette.com, including these grades that you saw here with some addendums, of course, with that we had to make at the end of there. So that'll be in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And as well, my updates on the quarterback outlook for this quarterback draft class here, that'll be out there as well. And maybe even some more film study that we put in there. It's all in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and this is all in the Locked On Steelers podcast, which you can find in your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this if you enjoy it. Subscribe to this channel to get all of our daily Monday to Friday episodes back here tomorrow after Tomlin's press conference, which is today at noon, where we'll get to ask him some more questions. We'll talk about all that here on the Locked On Steelers podcast.